It is Damien from Marketing and Food Online, and in this video I'm going to dive into your subscriber questions. We've got a bunch of them to get into on this video, so you might want to stick around to the end to see if your question. Let's jump into it right now. All right, so as I mentioned in the introduction, we are going to dive into a handful of subscriber questions. And sorry guys, I haven't posted a video in quite a few days, only because we are in the fourth quarter in our candy business, which is, I'm here in my office right now. We are inundated with orders and it's very, very busy. So I'm trying to hop on as many videos as I can, but we are normally working extended hours to get all of our orders out. So if you are new to Marketing Food Online, this is YouTube's premier food entrepreneur channel. So we dive into a bunch of resources, a bunch of videos to give you everything you need to know to get started with your food business, get a food truck up and running, or create a packaged food product, get it online with Amazon or even your own website, or get your products into retail stores. So this video, as I do frequently, I try to get into your questions, and you guys have a lot of them, which is fantastic, and I thank you for asking all of your questions. If you see me looking down, I'm going to dive into those questions, and I'm going to post it right here on top of the video. So let's dive into these right now. So I have the first question is from Daniel. Do interstate limitations include sales of spices? So this is actually a great question. Interstate sales, of course, if you may or may not know, is if you are shipping a product outside of your state to another state. But this question was actually from our home-based food business video from Massachusetts. So when it comes to cottage food laws, Daniel, when it comes to cottage food laws and selling a product from home, it is unfortunately very limiting in almost every state as far as where you can sell it and how it can be sold. So when it comes to interstate sales, no matter what it is, if it's on the list of approved items for your state, because every state has a different variation of what can actually be sold, a lot of times it has to only be sold within the state. So many states have that same law, but some, very few, but I think it's about 3 or 4, actually have the ability to create a website and to do business online. Now, obviously, if you're doing business online, there's a high potential that your product's going to have to ship someplace because other states and people outside the state you live in are going to see your website and want to buy your product. So do spices include interstate sales? Yes, unfortunately it does. Now, in the state of Massachusetts, I would recommend you double check with your state, either health department or the USDA, the Department of Agriculture, or your local health department within the city or the county that you live in. They are the ones that normally dictate down to a T as to what's allowed to be made either from home, it being either in a home or an apartment or anything like that. They're going to be the ones that actually dictate what that's going to be. The state does set up guidelines for cottage food laws, but the cities and counties are the ones that you really need to be concerned about the most. Of course, follow what the state has. I'm not trying to recommend you not do what the state says, but double check with the local city and counties, because they also write a handful of ordinances and different rules and regulations that would also limit or would allow certain types of foods being sold a certain way. So to answer your question, Daniel, yes, interstate sales normally are not really allowed from home. There's very few states that can, so double check within the city and county that you're in, specifically about spices, but I think that the answer unfortunately is going to be no, unless you're going into a commercial kitchen and you have a commercial kitchen where you're producing, packing, and shipping it. That is different. So that's a different type of licensing, a different scenario. So next up, our next question we have. All right, so our next question is from Lil This and That. And she actually has a question that says here, what do you recommend shipping frozen juices in that they must stay at least chilled? So please help. All right, so I did see this question. Actually, I think you had asked this a while back. I had noticed it. I hadn't got a chance to it. I'm sorry to answer it. But here is the thing about frozen anything, not just juices, but frozen products in general. You really need to make sure that that temperature is kept at the frozen temperature. Even juices, if they're not properly pasteurized, if they're not properly packaged, juices can get bacteria during transit if the temperature raises up or rises up during the period of shipping. Any type of frozen food or frozen drink or frozen beverage does have the possibilities of creating bacteria in a short period of time, even with a lot of heat. Now, with that being said, can you ship frozen juices? Of course you can. What do you need to ship them? Ice packs or dry ice? It's going to be dry ice. Ice packs will not create enough cold temperature in the box for any frozen food item, actually any frozen item at all. It will not maintain that temperature, and as such, during transit, if it's 2 or 3 days even and you're shipping the product, it has the potential to go bad and potentially get somebody sick. So you want to make sure you stay with dry ice. Now, Damien, that sounds great, but how much dry ice do I use? That's a question that you actually would have to find out. The reason being is that I don't know the size of the juice packets. I don't know how much there's actually going to be in a box. If you sell 10 or 12 containers of frozen juice and ship them, that's different than shipping just 1 or 2 containers. Why is that so? Well, because the more products that you ship in one single box that are frozen, it's actually going to help the other items stay frozen as well. That's going to dictate how much dry ice you're actually going to need. Now, when you handle dry ice and you pack it, you want to also keep your dry ice on the bottom of the box. What I would recommend you do is obviously use either a insulated cooler shipping container, or they actually have, it's almost like a foiled bubble wrap that actually it can keep the temperature and can isolate the temperature very well as well, but it's actually not as heavy, nor is it as expensive as a cooler. It's cheaper and can do the same thing. And on the top, it has an adhesive that actually seals it in. So you want to maintain that. You want to put that in first, put your dry ice, and put some wrap, either bubble wrap or something separating the product from directly touching the dry ice, and then put your product on the top and then seal it up, and you should be good to go. Now, you need to experiment with the type of dry ice too, because the other challenge of dry ice when you're shipping frozen products is the fact that it's very difficult to handle in some cases. Plus, there's a small window when it begins to melt and basically turn into carbon dioxide, okay? So you want to make sure that as you handle it, you put it out the same day that you're shipping your products, you're packing them and shipping them out immediately, because there's a small window that it begins to pretty much thaw out in a sense, okay? So can you ship the fruit juices? Yes. Do make sure though that they are definitely, of course, packaged properly. If there's any pasteurization process that needs to be done or something to that effect, make sure that's done too. If it's just simply frozen juice, make sure it's sealed super good. And of course, you want to make sure that it's got some type of tamper resistant label on the top as well. So I hope that helps you out and understand that you definitely can do it, but you really want to make sure that you're shipping it properly and you're using enough dry ice depending on how big the actual order is. All right, so the next question we got is from Maria. Maria actually asked, thank you for the advice. I want to start baking empanadas from home, but what do I need to do? Thank you. So Maria, thank you very much for the question. But the biggest question I've got for you is, where are you going to end up selling them? Because here's the thing, when it comes to empanadas, and they have a protein base, if it's a meat of any kind, normally that's not allowed from homes. When you're starting a home-based cottage food business, as I talked about on a handful of my videos, you cannot use things like meats, fish, anything that it could be time or temperature sensitive, that's called potentially hazardous food ingredients. And what that means is that once you create that product, these are the types of products that have to be kept at a certain temperature, or they have to be pasteurized, or they've got a certain type of freezer or cooler or hot temperature that has to be kept at, which can be called potentially hazardous. Now, can you use something outside of the beef and use just vegetarian? Yes, potentially. This will be based upon your state and what your state allows. Can you create an all veggie or vegetarian version? Maybe. And the reason why I say maybe is that, again, you want to check with your state and find out what is on their list as to what they will allow. So the first question you need to ask yourself is it allowed within that actual cottage food law on your state? Because every state is different, okay? So the idea of cooking empanadas sounds great. Now, can you do it for family and friends? I wouldn't recommend you do that as a business, but if you're looking to get into the empanadas in business and you want to make them and do it, I would recommend just renting a commercial kitchen, and you can start very, very small. But the idea though is once you rent a commercial kitchen and you're producing it there, you have much more opportunities and a lot more other places that you can actually sell empanadas, okay? I actually had a few questions about empanadas in particular, but unfortunately I'd given some advice to a couple of people here on the YouTube channel. And the thing of it is that when it comes to meats and chickens and fish and beef or anything of that type, proteins, even pork, it's normally not allowed under cottage food laws. Okay, so it's a great question, and it actually is a great product. My wife is Colombian, and she makes a version of empanadas that are absolutely amazing, and I'm a big fan of empanadas myself, but unfortunately she can't make them from home and sell them. Now, in the state of California though, there is a law, and there's a license A and license B that you can actually apply for, but the state has that law on the books. The counties and cities still have to adopt it and allow that within their city limits or their county limits. And a lot of them in California haven't done so just yet. It actually literally almost allows you to create a restaurant right out of your house in some cases. But again, you have to have the right license, and the city and county has to adopt it or allow it to happen within those limits. So I hope that helps you out. Double check if you can, if there's any commercial kitchens in your area. I would recommend going the commercial kitchen route because it's going to be the legal way to do it. And plus, you give you an opportunity to open a lot more doors and places to sell. You can restaurants, you can sell to grocery stores, supply food trucks, you can sell it online, you can do literally a lot of stuff, but you have to be in the right setting with the right licenses and permits in order for that to happen. All right, so I got one more question, and this is actually a question about equipment and a home-based business. So this is from, and I apologize if I pronounce this wrong, is it Mimo or Mimao? If it's Mamau, again, I apologize if I said it incorrectly. Hi, bro. I got a quick question, please. I want to start a homemade cookie business from home. My home oven, though it makes, is very slow. What is a good or best, what would be the best oven I can start with? Thank you. So, yes, that's a great question. As a matter of fact, there are some pretty amazing home versions of not necessarily commercial kitchen ovens, but they're convection ovens. A lot of ovens today actually have a feature of convection. Now, if you're not familiar with convection, it actually cooks and rotates the heat within the actual oven itself, but it cooks very fast, and you can use a lower temperature, but it is very, very good at cooking also and baking evenly. If you're doing a lot of cookies or cakes or cupcakes or loaves, convection ovens are fantastic. We actually had a commercial grade convection oven in our bakery, our Italian bakery, but that was a different setting, of course. But the actual use of convection is very similar to the ones that they have nowadays for your home. So yes, you can get these. They are a little pricey and expensive up front, but in the long run, they're going to be used fantastic if you're doing a cookie business from home, which is something that almost every state actually does allow. You can do this with a convection oven, and it would give you that commercial appeal. It would basically bake as if you were in a commercial setting. So definitely give it a thumbs up. The commercial convection ovens, that style can be purchased for the home, and I would definitely recommend you do something like that. Now, as far as the brand, they're all really good. You have LG, you have KitchenAid, you have GE. Most of these can actually be purchased at Home Depot or even Lowe's, believe it or not. Get it delivered to your house, swap out your old oven, and start with that one. So if you're looking for an oven, definitely check out a convection oven. That is going to be the one that you really want to look at. It's going to give you a commercial feel to what you're doing at home. So, all right, so this video, I'm going to wrap it up. Those are a handful of questions. If you have even more questions, please let us know here at Marketing Food Online, down in the descriptions, down in the comment section. And in the description, as always, check out our brand new, we have a blog on our website that has a ton of free resources, by the way. We have a ton of new categories on our website with a lot of resources that are absolutely free, and you can check that out, marketingfoodonline.com. And I'll see you guys on our next video. Take care. Thanks for watching Marketing Food Online. And if you are looking to create your own food truck, start a home-based food business under the cottage food law, franchise a food operation, start a packaged food business, private label your own food product, sell on Amazon, get your own online store, or sell food online, remember to subscribe and check out these videos for more resources. Take care.